3 years ago, I set out to construct the most powerful nootropic stack for focus, motivation, and sheer cognitive horsepower. I logged hundreds of hours, sampled endless amounts of cognitive performance chemicals, and ran beta tests with soldiers from the United States Army. And after massive experimentation and ruthless trial and error, my work had finally paid off. I found what I was looking for. Focus and motivation nootropics are one of the best classes of nootropics, right? I think, you know, and then of course, like there's the massive functionality improving nootropics, like particular things like aniracetam for me is just night and day with working memory. Cortex, on the other hand, you'll have better working memory with Cortex, but the primary power of a stack like Cortex and compounds like Uridine and CDP choline, the doses we've got in this stack, is focus and drive. Focus and drive to do work. I think if you ask anybody, what do they want more of in terms of some sort of mental faculty, it might not be like the ability to recite a whole bunch of things at once, like to be an idiot savant and read the whole encyclopedia. It might actually be to just be able to focus and to have drive to work. Secure about all the Cortex nootropic stack at livecortex.com because that is what we made this for, and it actually works. Okay, so I want a quick breakdown of stack that actually has Uridine in it, like Cortex does, that we've talked about before, but it's not gotten enough attention. Now we've got a lot more subscribers, so I want to talk about the stack again. And this is the stack of Uridine, alpha GPC, caffeine, alcar, and theanine. Okay, this is just a stack to try, which will be a new series that we do here on the Cortex Nootropics channel, where we just do stacks to try. Because I've tried, I was thinking like, what more content for video? Oh my God, all the 100,000 stacks I tried over the years that I know are great, and I've not shared them with anybody, most of them. So here's a great stack to try. 150 milligrams of uridine monophosphate, 75 milligrams of alpha GPC, 300 milligrams of acetyl L-carnitine, 120 milligrams of caffeine, 200 milligrams of theanine. Okay, I'll recite it again. 150 milligrams of uridine monophosphate, 75 milligrams of alpha GPC. Now, uridine and alpha GPC together, they'll build phosphatidylcholine. Uridine will partially convert to CDP choline, and so which will also facilitate phosphatidylcholine, and then ultimately end up creating acetylcholine. So you don't want a whole lot of acetylcholine floating around. That's when people get side effects from taking high dose alpha GPC. You want to go low, especially in combination with uridine. And then uridine facilitates the functioning of dopamine receptors and the increase of axons and dendrites from neurons to other neurons. They're called dendrites. That's why uridine is so powerful. So that's that. Alcar, acetyl L-carnitine, that's improves the functioning of the mitochondria in brain cells, particularly as it relates to the usage of fat as a substrate, fatty acids as a fuel substrate. But it also facilitates, I'm not sure that it actually is a donor directly to acetylcholine, but there's part of acetyl L-carnitine throughout its processes that will eventually contribute to the production of, and or the synthesis of acetylcholine. But it's also very stimulatory, very powerful, very energizing for brain cell mitochondria, alcar. Then you've got caffeine, of course. Caffeine at 120 milligrams, which is caffeine, that's stimulatory, it's great. But I think the power in caffeine that's why folks always say, we get emails, at least every week, a couple times a week, saying, hey, I took Cortex and drank a couple cups of coffee, and I was like, it was rocket fuel for hours. That's because uridine, I'm not quite sure the relationship quite yet, but a guy named Mr. Happy who talked about the Mr. Happy stack, which we talked about recently on the 94-page longevity thread, actually cites a study, if you want to get into it, which talks about the relationship between uridine monophosphate and caffeine, particularly as it relates to the adenosine receptors, and that is pretty interesting. But caffeine and uridine together potentiate each other. I'm not sure if it's uridine that potentiates the caffeine or if it's the caffeine that potentiates the uridine, but it is powerful and very sure. I took the Cortex product today and I drank 2 cups of coffee. Look at me. I'm about to go jump off a roof and do some front flips on the way down and get a whole bunch done while I'm doing it. So so that's caffeine in 120 milligrams, and then theanine in 200 milligrams. You got a pretty stimulatory stack: uridine, choline, alpha GPC, alcar, caffeine, all very stimulatory. So you kind of want to edge it out a little bit and add a good, focused, calm, a little alpha brainwave activity with 200 milligrams of theanine to get yourself in the right place. That is a stack that I have relied on for about 5 years, right? In alternating sort of frequencies. You know, I mean, these days it's Cortex, low dose modafinil, that stack, and then a combination of, you know, a bunch of different stacks, which we're going to talk about in this new series called Stacks You Could Try. That's all. Thanks for watching.